Okay, so we are back. You are going to see just there, oh my god. You're going to see just there that I'm monitoring myself as I record. How cool is that? It'll probably be super annoying if you're trying to watch it, but anyway, such is life. So yeah, we're back again. Here we are at the gas tank. Oh, let's move my head in, there we go. So yeah, we're on a head cam again. So what I've done is, you saw me on the last video cut everything out, so we're all good there. I've got the skull ready to go back. On top of that, he's actually hiding underneath here, trying to keep it nice and flat. So I'm going to dust this in with white, and then we'll carry on the process from there. So I'm going to be using my little Badger, where are we? There we go, Badger 100 side feed again, because I'm really still liking this brush a lot. So yeah, always make sure you mix your paint up. Just for reference, I basically, almost everything I do I use auto air. We're not using the, where are we, Candy Sunset Orange, we're not using that right now, but yeah, that's what I use. So yeah, I've got some pre-mixed white. It's around about, if I remember right, it's about 50-50 mixed, somewhere around there. I don't need a crazy amount of paint, that's probably too much already. So yeah, what I'm basically going to do is just come along and I am going to just gently dust this in. Actually, what I'll do for a little bit of reference is we'll grab hold of this guy here. Ooh, there he is. And I'm just going to use him for a bit of reference, because then I can just start putting some stuff in there. Nothing too crazy, but I'm just going to give him a white all the way over. Anywhere, excuse the compressor, anywhere where it's bending around a corner, I'm literally just going to rest my finger around there, just so we don't get a crazy amount of overspray. You're always going to get overspray though, I warn you of that now. That's always going to be a thing. So yeah, so that's a rough outline. So I know roughly that his eyes, one eye comes down that way, and we know roughly that one comes that way. And again, this isn't anywhere near precise. It doesn't need to be just yet. So we know he's got a lovely little nose, and his nose sort of comes around there. All the teeth stuff going on there, and we know he's got quite a pronounced chin. Move that like that. See, and I actually inverted this image to cut it out. So I've got the original over there, so I actually know the light spot is the dark spot, I think. All I'm literally doing right now is just ghosting stuff in. Nothing too crazy yet. See, and I can already tell, just looking at that versus that, we're in the right ballpark, but the eyes definitely aren't right. But I'm not too worried about that. What I'm trying to do is, for when I cut the eyes and the nose and some of the other bits out, what it then means is I've got the light spots roughly in the right place. Again, it just helps with your start of a roadmap, so to speak. So if I come over here and grab this one, this is why I printed a few different copies out, you see? There we go. So yeah, this is the young fella in reverse. So yeah, see, so we know that eye there is going to be a ways off from where I've got it. we know that that eye there actually ends there. So the eyes are actually shifted way over from where I was. And again, like I say, those little details right now, not really an issue. If you're looking closely there, you can see where the lovely airbrush there just decided it would throw out a bunch of paint without warning. So all you're going to do is just push down for air. You're just going to get that to dry. Again, it's not an issue right now. I've got another detail airbrush I'm going to be switching to shortly. So purely for right now, this is just a rough stuffing. Just give everything a light coat of white. Yeah, she's spitting a little bit. Technically, if your airbrush starts spitting, it means you need to clean it some more. My bad. So, I should take this lovely little gadget. I don't know how it's going to fit with this one. I don't think it's going to fit too well. Like that. I can make that work though, I think. There we go. I believe, yep, that one comes out. Down. The less you can have in the air, the better. It's nearly empty. Goes. Again, more really cool stuff. 5618 airbrush cleaner. I use this all the time. Another way you can clean your brush out is with the reducer itself. Every brush is different, but the best bet to getting yourself into good practice is, oh, there you go, you can't see, there we go. Push your cap on and push for air. The moment I push for air, it's going to try and push the cap off. So I'm just going to come back here slightly. And you can see there, it's pushing the paint back through into the cup. Then I'm going to take a paper towel. Most people will cringe at this because they'll think you're going to contaminate everything. If they don't think dust is in the air, then good luck. I actually give that a nice clean out there, and you can see, hopefully, I'll bend my head down a little bit more, you can see that's relatively clean in there now. What I'm going to do is just put a little bit more airbrush cleaner in, and you can see that just went white again. So I know that's not clean enough yet. That should be somewhere near close now. Right, she's good. Okay. So we are going to put that little chap there, like so, if you'll stay. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come through, and remember I inversed the image here. So anywhere that is white, I'm now going to go in and paint in black. And you can even go to the point, and I will probably do this a little bit in between the teeth, because again, then it gives you a really good little roadmap. And that always helps. The more heads up you can have, the better, basically. So we'll come over here. Move my lovely healthy Diet Coke out of the way. Anyway, let me just make sure you can see what I'm doing. That camera needs to go down a little bit. Bear with me. Oh, God, that thing's a tight fit on your head, I can tell you that much. Okay, so come down here, and I'm going to basically cut anything that's a big block of white out. And again, remembering what I said in the last video, if you didn't watch that, then run back and check it now. But long story short is try and do this with a cutting mat and a sharp blade. Generally speaking, if you're starting a project, you're starting a new blade. That's the way I look at it. Like I say, there's nothing more annoying than starting something to then find out you have an issue. And believe it or not, when we cut these eyes out, I'm still going to keep the eyes, because again, it helps you sometimes because you're looking to get back to a crisp edge. Aye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to an image that I'm not anywhere near at the moment, so I'm going to lay it out as one eye. So this bit gets a little bit on the tricky side. We are super narrow there, so I'm going to do that piece last. So I come down through this. So excuse me if I don't talk too much while I'm doing this. You have to kind of concentrate a lot. Right, so we've now done everything bar, so you can still see, hopefully. We've done everything bar this lovely little line here. So I'm going to start at the top, work my way around. Now you just have to bear in mind at this point, it's about 2 to 3 millimeters wide. So the best thing to do is just keep a finger on everything to stop it shuffling. Oh, she's trying, there we go. Bingo. Should come out. There we go. Again, we'll put that there, so we know that goes there. It's starting to look a bit hollow. Okay, so nose or jaw next. I'm going to go with the jaw next, because once we cut the nose out, it's going to get super fragile around here. Down here we've got a good chunk of material left. Okay, around the cheekbone. Another good trick if you're looking to paint the skull, and that's why you're watching this, is anatomy. Is awesome to know, or more to the point, bone structure. I was kind of guilty of this when I first started. I would paint a skull, I think, oh, that looks awesome, and all of a sudden he's either got way too many teeth or not enough. And then once you realise that, if you're anything like me and you get OCD about it, game over. That's why I always try and follow a reference picture, especially on something realistic. So with a bit of persuasion that'll come out. You can see it's got a little bit nicked there, but it should still play. If it doesn't, what you can do is just tease it out with your knife. Right, so we know we've got the two eyes there, we know that's the jaw there. So, okay, on to the nose. The nose is going to be a little bit more tricky. Let me just make sure you guys can still see. Yeah, I just need to lean forward a little bit. Alright, so up here again, we are super tight on space. So I'm going to start about halfway down the top of his nose cavity. Not too many things, not too many places you could say that. And if you're afraid of losing space, or your place where you're cutting and you can't see it, just hold the tip of your blade there. And then you can work your way around. Just try not to do it too much, because you're going to end up with a blunt knife. But it can be kind of tricky sometimes. You'll be cutting something, especially if you're cutting it on black, and you won't have the sweet foggiest clue where you were. Right, so at this point, hopefully you can see that, you've got the tiny little piece that goes up the middle of the nose. I'm in two minds whether I should be cutting that out or not. I'm fairly confident in the fact that I can airbrush that in myself. I'm more about getting that block in there. So I'm going to cut all the way around. By all means, you can do it the other way. Okay, so now we're getting up to that eye socket again. So we just got to take our time, just keep everything as you would, just try and keep a firm hold on the paper with your finger, like I'm doing. So we're right up next to it now. I'm just going to gently move that. See it trying to lift? I'm just going to get my fingernail right on that edge, and it's still split. Not the end of the world. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. Just don't want to actually rip anything away. Yeah, see, so like that you can see there, the paper split just there, and it's trying to lift this out. So just go back in with your blade. I'm just going to nick the edge of that off, hopefully. There we go. So we know that's his nose now. So the other thing to bear in mind is I've now got a small cut there, but that's not going to stop me getting my little road map going. So you can stop at this point and start using this over the top of the other one. I'm probably going to go a little bit further, more so the gaps on these teeth, just because, again, you're trying to make it look somewhat realistic, which the skull original, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? My reference image was kind of like that. So where should we start? We'll start back here. All of these teeth, the last 8 teeth there, they're all pretty much together. So if I come in here, so this is just going to give you, you'll see when we go back into the painting in a second, you'll see that this will just make your life that much easier. But you're also cutting very tricky little bits of paper. So it's not always going to go exactly as planned. The main thing to remember is you're relying on this piece of paper right up until this point. After this point, don't need it too much. It's handy to have because it means you can come back and make all the edges crisp again, because it's very easy to get overspray. But that aside, once we're done here, then we're on to the fun part, as most of us would say, and that's freehanding everything. The main thing I would say about airbrushing in general is there's a lot of different schools of thought on this kind of stuff. My general thing with this is you'll see there's a lot of people and they'll get their noses up and they'll say, oh well, I freehand everything, and then you got the other guys and they'll be like, well, I stencil everything and it looks awesome. And to be honest, they're both kind of right in their own right, so to speak. To me personally, and this is just a personal opinion, if you're airbrushing, you've got to have a degree of ability. Now, whether you need to be able to freehand an extremely intricate portrait, personally I don't think you do. You need to be able basically to pay attention, and the general rule of thumb is if you can sketch and draw, you should stand a relatively good chance of being able to airbrush. The biggest thing with this is it can be extremely annoying and infuriating at times. You have to be, for want of a better description, very stubborn. Right, so we're at this point. I'm going to have a bunch of, let's make sure you can still see, which you can. You're going to have a bunch of little bits here where it's going to try and nick and not pull up. So what you want to do is pick a corner, put your pinpoint through it, just gently start trying to tease. Just work your way down. If you get any points like just here where it's trying not to come out, just run your blade over it again. Again, you're just looking to be nice and gentle, and eventually, and again, this comes down to patience, what you're looking for is this all to pop out like this is just about to. There we go. So you can see that there now. You can see we've now got the outline of these teeth. Some of it's not quite perfect. You can go in and adjust. That is trying to pull that way, that little piece. So if I come back around this way, hold his tooth down, gently trim with any luck. Yeah, there we go. That's good enough for me. I've got a tiny little piece on the other side of that one tooth. There's always that one trouble spot. Always. Okay. So, is it worth me trying to keep this tiny bit? Probably not, but I know how Murphy's Law works, and we know that's his teeth gap there. So, I'll come back over to here. So now if I hold this up against this, apart from that lovely little tear which I hate, but such is life, we hold that there and bingo. So we can already see where I was trying to guess to make the eye there, I was off by a country mile, and this is exactly why you do this. So we'll put him down for a minute, and this is where it will look like magic. Back to the auto there. It's always good. Oh, where are we? There we go. You'll see on there I've written mixed in my lovely left-handed brain. It's always good to mark on something. If you add anything to the paint that comes out of the bottle, mark it down, because I guarantee you'll forget. And drip paint all over your finger, because that's always fun. You always want paper towel or shop towel or some sort of something to mop up mess with your, if you paint and your hands ain't filthy, I don't know anyone that can do that, put it that way. Plus side with water-based paint is also super easy to get off. So I'm just going to paint on this piece of wood, make sure we're getting some black out. And you can see, if I go in a little bit closer, you'll see it's super thin. If I pull the trigger right the way back, a spider like that. So you just have to be wary of that. The reason that I've got it that thin is so that I can go super light with what I'm doing. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to make sure my fingers are somewhat dry. Ask me how I know that mistake. You put a wet finger onto a panel that you're painting. It's never a fun thing. Okay, so, and again, don't be too stressed if you can only hold it in place for one thing, providing you've got, get in there, providing you've got your skull in the right place, you can keep on going back and keep on going back. There we go. All right, so his eyes are in there now. I just go and just gently dust. Biggest thing with this is don't throw a ton of paint at anything when you're airbrushing, because you will live to regret it. All you'll end up with is a runny mess, unfortunately. So you can see how there, just pushing the air down is pushing the skull. That means it's going to sit on there exactly how I need it to. And just keep coming back. And this removes all of your guesswork, because all of your guesswork as to where holes and everything were, that's now gone. Because you know we're following exactly as that image asked. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push down for air on my brush, and that will start to dry everything back out. So I'm not pulling for paint at all, just trying to get this to dry. This is the beauty of water-based paint, you can hurry up the drying process. So again, my fingers haven't moved, the skull hasn't moved, so we're going to throw another coat on there. If you can, try not to throw paint all over your paper skull, because you never know when you're going to need it. So, are you ready for the big reveal? Because this will almost look like we're in the right path. And bingo. So, from a drunk 20 foot away, looks like the same image. So looking at that, we know that the eyes are in exactly where they need to be. I know that I need to add the little nose piece. We know that's exactly where the teeth go. And yeah, so now we can just carry on building from here. I think what I'll do at this point is, because I've been talking for 23 minutes, oh my God. I'll end the video for now. I'll upload this one. And I'm gonna start adding some detail into this one. But then what I'll do is on the other side, I'll show you how I stuck the piece of paper to the tank. There's lots of different ways of doing it. Everyone does it different. But yeah, any questions, comments, anything like that, anything you need to know, want to know, can't figure out, by all means shoot me a message and we'll go from there. See you on the next one.